The morning sun, usually a herald of warmth and new beginnings, felt different that day. It cast long, indifferent shadows across the quiet streets of Osprey Ridge, a small, insular community nestled deep within the Pacific Northwest's sprawling ancient forests. It was September 12th, a Tuesday, 2007. Sarah Jenkins, a postal carrier for nearly 2 decades, knew Osprey Ridge better than anyone. Its winding cul-de-sacs, the perfectly manicured lawns, the way Mrs. Henderson always left a glass of iced tea on her porch on hot days. But that Tuesday, the tea wasn't there. Nor was Mrs. Henderson. Sarah had pulled her mail truck onto Elmwood Drive just after 9 a.m., expecting the usual rhythm of the morning, barking dogs, the distant hum of lawnmowers, children's laughter. Instead, there was silence. A profound, unnatural silence that felt heavy, almost suffocating. She noticed the first anomaly at the Miller's house. The front door was ajar. Not wide open, not forced, just slightly ajar, as if someone had stepped out for a moment and simply forgotten to pull it shut. Odd, for the meticulously careful Millers. She shrugged it off, thinking perhaps they were expecting a delivery, or one of the kids had been careless. But then, the next house, and the next, and the one after that. Every single front door along Elmwood Drive stood partially open, a uniform, unsettling invitation to emptiness. It was as if a silent, invisible hand had reached out and unlatched them all in unison. Sarah's brow furrowed. This wasn't right. This wasn't Osprey Ridge. She called out, her voice swallowed by the stillness. "Hello? Anyone home?" Only the whisper of the wind through the pines answered her. An unease began to curdle in her stomach, tightening its grip with each passing house. She hesitated, then stepped onto the Miller's porch. The mail slot was overflowing, something she'd never seen before. She pushed the door open further, a faint creak echoing in the sudden vastness of the entryway. Inside, the house was immaculate, undisturbed. A half-eaten bowl of cereal sat on the kitchen counter, a spoon still resting in it. The television in the living room was on, displaying static, a low hiss filling the air. It was a scene frozen in time, but without the people who had created it. No struggle, no signs of forced entry, no valuables missing. Just the eerie, palpable void where life should have been. Sarah backed out slowly, her heart now thumping against her ribs like a trapped bird. She got back in her truck, her hands trembling as she fumbled for her phone. She knew, with chilling certainty, that she wasn't just reporting a string of unlocked doors. She was reporting a ghost town. Within the hour, sheriff's deputies swarmed Osprey Ridge. Their cruisers, lights flashing silently against the dark green backdrop of the forest, broke the unnatural quiet. Officers moved methodically, house to house, a growing dread settling over them with each discovery. The pattern was undeniable. Every single home in the community, all 47 of them, had been abandoned. Doors open, lives paused mid-sentence. Inside the homes, the details mounted, each one a brushstroke in a portrait of sudden collective departure. Clothes lay draped over chairs, morning newspapers sat unread on kitchen tables, coffee mugs still bore the faint rings of their last contents. In one bathroom, a shower was still running, warm water cascading into an empty tub. In another, a child's toy lay discarded on the floor, as if its owner had simply stood up and walked away mid-play. Pets, too, were found, dogs whimpering at back doors, cats curled on beds, all left behind, hungry and confused. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken windows, no ransacked drawers, no bloodstains, nothing to suggest violence or a forced evacuation. Valuables, cash, jewelry, electronics, were left untouched. It wasn't a robbery. It wasn't a mass abduction in the traditional sense. It was something far more insidious, something that defied conventional explanation. The search expanded rapidly. K9 units were brought in, their handlers directing them through the dense woods surrounding Osprey Ridge, across the fields, along the creek beds. Helicopters crisscrossed the sky, their rotors a distant thrum against the vast silence of the landscape. They found nothing. No footprints leading away, no discarded personal items, no vehicular tracks leaving the town other than the residents' own cars, which remained neatly parked in their driveways. Not a single resident of Osprey Ridge, men, women, children, infants, the elderly, was accounted for. They had simply ceased to be there. The official investigation, led by veteran detective Mark Holloway, quickly became one of the most baffling cases of his career. Every lead evaporated into thin air. Every theory presented seemed to crumble under the weight of the impossible facts. In the weeks and months that followed, the theories proliferated, each more desperate than the last. Was it a cult? A sudden collective decision to join some secluded commune? But there was no known cult with such a reach, nor any indication that the diverse residents of Osprey Ridge shared such beliefs. And why leave everything behind, so meticulously, so calmly? Could it have been a localized environmental toxin? A gas leak, perhaps, causing mass disorientation and a collective, unconscious exodus? Samples were taken from the air, water, and soil. Nothing. The environment was pristine, as it had always been. Some whispered of mass psychosis, a shared delusion that swept through the community, compelling everyone to leave. But such phenomena rarely manifest with such absolute uniformity, and never without a single witness or a single person regaining their senses. Then there were the darker, more unsettling conjectures, whispers of the paranormal, of something ancient stirring in the surrounding forests, something that had simply called them away. A collective rapture, a dimensional shift, a localized tear in the fabric of reality. These were the theories that the official channels quickly dismissed, but that lingered in the shadows of the human mind, persistent and chilling. Years have passed since that silent Tuesday in Osprey Ridge. The houses still stand, slowly succumbing to the encroaching wilderness, their open doors now sagging on rusted hinges. The half-eaten cereal bowl is long gone, dust and decay having reclaimed it. The static on the television eventually faded, the power long since cut. But the profound silence remains. No bodies were ever found, no clues ever surfaced. Not a single resident of Osprey Ridge has ever reappeared, nor has any explanation for their collective, instantaneous disappearance ever been discovered. The case remains wide open, a stark, unsettling testament to a community that simply vanished. And every now and then, on a quiet morning, a lone postal carrier might still drive past the entrance to Elmwood Drive, glancing down its tree-lined path, and wonder what unseen force could compel an entire town to walk away from their lives, leaving nothing but open doors behind.